Amos. This is a little message for that Dave fella in Fredericton who follows that Pied Piper Alex Jones in GCN and that Freemen bullshit too close. He's been sending me PMs and stuff teasing me about how he's going to go down to Lake Utopia and stake a claim in an old truck with no plate or registration. Well, for the record, I understand the Freeman stuff, but I don't play that game. I did the reverse. After the Yankees tried to take me to Gitmo after I won some judgments by default in Yankee courts, I incorporated my name. I went the other way. I capitalized my name, became the chief of my clan, and declared a blood feud. That's what's got the Zionists so upset. As far as the Freeman stuff goes, yes, I understand, and they are correct, except that the powers that be do not play by the rules. Let me repeat that. The RCMP and the courts do not play by the rule of law, Dave. The rules are there for us common people to obey, or they will fuck us. If you think you can take on the RCMP or the courts by their rules, dream again. If you're going to be a free man, you must be willing to take it all the way down the line. Part of it means standing up with a name, Dave, and quit teasing men that do have a name, Dave. As far as that Rob Menard character, I've talked to him and Scott Peacock. As you can see him tease Peacock of the Securities Commission, perhaps you should check my work in Scrib, Dave. You're teasing me about the cops arresting you just because you know me is correct. That said, watch Menard tease Peacock. As far as that British fella, anti-terrorist, can't talk to him. He don't have the balls to have a face or a name, does he, Dave? I suggest you be very careful. Toodaloo.
Hi, I'm Freeman on the Land, Robert Arthur of the Menard family. Imagine a bureaucracy who is willing to disregard the Criminal Code of Canada in order to exercise what they feel is their authority granted under a provincial statute. Imagine a bureaucracy that believes they have the power to force you to attend their court and to provide personal documents just so they can investigate to see if a crime has been committed. Imagine a bureaucracy that states their duty is to protect you, the investor, and in order to do so, they create a regulation that states in order to be an investor, you must have $1 million in the bank to play with. Are they actually protecting you from investing, or are they protecting their investor buddies from stopping you from investing? Hello.
Is this Rob?
Yes, it is.
This is Scott Peacock.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good.
I'm calling from Vancouver. How's the weather out there out east?
Well, it changed from snow to rain, and it's going to be kind of miserable and wet and soggy. So very much like Vancouver, I would say.
Oh, you gotta love them oceans for that, eh?
Keeps it temperate.
Yeah, it sure does. I got family out there in Antigonish. I'm looking at maybe heading out that way this summer.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully it'll be nicer by then. What I'm calling about, I'm acting as an agent for some people by the name of Garth Spinagle and Norma Spinagle and their son Quentin. Are you familiar with that case at all? I'm wondering, I'm a Freeman on the land. I've helped people out here with the British Columbia Securities Commission with a number of cases. And you guys, you do respect the Criminal Code of Canada, do you not?
Well, I operate under the Securities Act.
But you are bound by the Criminal Code. I mean, you're not allowed to, there's nothing in that Securities Act that frees you from the Criminal Code. For instance, say, extortion or fraud or assault or anything like that. You certainly, there's nothing in the Securities Act that empowers you to engage in those actions. Is that not correct?
No, that'd be correct, actually, yeah.
What I do is I teach people how to establish lawful excuse to disobey courts and statutes using the Criminal Code of Canada. Now, one of the things that I have found is that the Securities Commission, and I noticed the same thing in deconstructing the Nova Scotia Securities Act, is that you state that you have as much authority as the Supreme Court does to compel attendance or ensure performance. Is that correct?
Well, I'm listening to you.
Well, if we're not in agreement, then we should stop there and figure out what we are in agreement, because I read the Securities Act and it states that you have the exact same amount of authority to compel as does the Supreme Court. What I noticed, however, and I've noticed this in all these Securities Commission's acts that I have deconstructed, is that they don't say we have this authority, they just say we have as much authority as that second party. So what we have done in order to establish how much authority you have is we bring action against the Supreme Court using a notary public, and we establish, because I've deconstructed the Judicature Act as well, and according to the Supreme Court, the only people that they can compel to either attend or to perform are people who are employed by the provincial and federal governments. So if you point, if the Securities Commission points to the Supreme Court and says we have as much power as they do, and then we go to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court states no, we actually do not have the power to compel you, then I'm expecting that you would accept that you don't have the power to compel these people either.
What's your last name, Rob?
What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
My family name, actually, I don't have a last name being a Freeman on the land, but my family name is Menard, M-E-N-A-R-D. My website is thinkfree.ca if you'd like to check it out. And I've got a couple of videos on Google. One is called Bursting Bubbles of Government Deception, and the other is called The Magnificent Deception. And, well, I am going to be traveling out east extensively this summer, putting on a series of shows called With Lawful Excuse. And I teach people how to use a claim of right to establish lawful excuse to disobey the court before you even get to the court. Pretty interesting.
Hello friends, I am the anti-terrorist. Thank you for all of your messages of support, your emails, and for staying part of the conversation. Now, if you've been studying since my last video, you will know that the court system is a private business enterprise. It is little to do with justice and everything to do with money. And once you realize that, and you go into these venues, the illusion crumbles somewhat, and you can see it for what it is. It's a game. That's why it's called a court. I need to add a caveat here. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a bar card. I'm not a solicitor. I'm not a member of the Law Society. I'm just offering you a little information as to how I might do things and how other people have done things under these circumstances. In other words, I'm not offering legal advice here, so you Law Society chaps can wind your neck back in. Now, for the sake of expediency, I'm going to assume that you know what a person is, that you know what a Mr. is, and that you know what a defendant is. They're all legal fictions. And I'm going to also assume that you have followed the Freemen process to some degree and that you know how to stand your ground and claim your rights. I'm also going to assume that you know how to put certain paperwork into the court before you go there, because